Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, September 9th, 9 a.m. Eastern. We have the S&P 500 setting up for a little gap up open, keeping the bulls in absolute full control at this point. So it's been a very successful break of the August range that is leading to follow through. So we got to be watching the hourly uptrend. That's the most important thing for me, because as long as the hourly uptrend holds, the bulls keep full control. That's my guideline for the start of this week. And we're looking at the low of Friday afternoon's consolidation, 297.88. So if the bulls hold 297.88 this morning, they keep full control as far as I'm concerned. And as far as resistance goes, it's very limited up here. We're looking at 300 psychological. And after 300 psychological, just a few levels until the all-time high, 302.23. We're starting this morning about 1% from all-time highs. There is a potential rising wedge on the hourly time frame that we need to be keeping an eye on. And again, it's just still all about the hourly uptrend for me, but this is something to be keeping an eye on as we're getting to a very tight range up here. So I'll be watching that. But again, that's just secondary and a visual guide as far as comparison to what matters most to me, which is the concrete price level. Looking at the dollar is seeing a bit of a triple top. The last 3 days, 98.54 has essentially knocked the price down 3 times. The 4-hour trend has to change for the bulls to have a daily higher low set. And right now, we have not changed that 4-hour trend. So we need to see the bulls hold the lows in the low 98s and see a break of 98.52 to change the 4-hour trend. And that would give us the daily higher low that we are anticipating is going to form. Gold just had a little bit of a bull break. We pretty much have a triple bottom on gold just above 1500 psychological. We bounced off 1502, 1503, 1504, and then we did just break the hourly lower highs of resistance. So the hourly momentum has shifted to begin to favor the bulls, and we know the daily time frame is looking for a little bit of a bounce. So we're watching for the inside bar scenario, and we're seeing a little bit more follow through than I would like for a gold entry, a bull minor entry. First thing this morning, I was watching for the potential of a bottom fishing play on NUGT based off of the low of Friday of 34.70. But at this point, we've bounced a good bit above that level. So if I'm going to be looking for a bull entry on miners today, I want to see a little bit of a pullback first thing this morning and get closer to key 34.70 support and perhaps a bottom fishing play off of that level, looking for a daily inside bar to form. Because anything on this bounce for NUGT is currently just an hourly lower high compared to 39.68. So bulls still have a good bit of work to do to change the hourly trend on the bull miners. Looking at silver, silver has not changed its hourly trend. We have our high of 18.29, low of 17.90, lower high at 18.28, a little bit of a double top. So the bulls have to form a higher low and then see a bull break. And if that happens, that will potentially be the bull miners testing the low of Friday, holding it, and then seeing follow through. So silver has to break this hourly equilibrium bullish, and gold has to set an hourly higher low to be looking for bull miners to hold their lows of Friday. Oil has seen a significant bull move. I'm watching for the potential of an equilibrium on oil and pulling up the 6-hour time frame just to condense things a little bit. I'm looking at the high of the bull break, the low of the dump, and watching to see, is this going to be a lower high? It's looking like a little potential bull flag right now. If we were to reject from 57.26 and pull back down into the $56 range, we'll be looking for the equilibrium, and a higher low will have to form in the low 56s. So potential top fishing play to be watching for. Bulls are going to try and test this resistance this morning. 57.25 is a key level. If the bulls do break 57.25, that daily time frame continues to favor them on this break. And I believe the oil bulls will continue to play catch up to the correlation with the S&P 500, which has made its own bullish break, of course. So key 57.26 resistance test on oil first thing this morning, which means DWT is a potential bottom fishing play as well. Natural gas bulls getting follow through, so key 250 resistance has broken. The weekly lower highs have broken for the first time. There's very clearly a sentiment shift underway. The daily chart is very overextended. We've seen a higher low on the daily chart now 11 days in a row. And it's looking like that's going to remain the case today as well, unless we drop down and break 2487, which is not likely. So bulls holding extremely strong. The 4-hour higher low We haven't set one yet, aside from down at 240. So anything above 240 is a 4-hour high or low. 256 is a resistance level to be watching from here. But natural gas bulls still on fire at this point and getting follow through. Bitcoin just had a 4-hour bear break straight into a bull move. So a lower low compared to 10,182 into a bull move, but we have to see follow through because we didn't break the lower highs. All that shows us is the bulls are playing defense. We're looking for a daily higher low to form, and we have to change that 4-hour trend to be confident that that has been set. So need a 4-hour trend change on Bitcoin. I personally am watching Litecoin. I'm in a Litecoin position, and we're watching to see if Litecoin and Ethereum can continue to gain ground against Bitcoin, as has been the case for the last 2 or 3 days. And if Bitcoin can change the 4-hour trend, and if Litecoin and Ethereum can hold up as far as the Bitcoin pairing goes, we'll be looking for those names to see follow through on their daily trend changes. Litecoin changed the daily trend with a higher low and a higher high, but we definitely need more follow through for that to be convincing. I want to see the price in the mid $70 range and get over these exponential resistances convincingly if we're going to see a notable shift with follow through. So plays I'm watching today, like I said, NUGT. Going to be watching for the potential of a bottom fishing play with the low of Friday. DWT. Going to be watching for the potential of a bottom fishing play with the low of Thursday, 565. Also going to be watching the MJ space. Not going to be surprised if we see some consolidation to start this week after such a strong last week. So if we were to see CGC fail to break 28.16 and drop down into the mid $27 range first thing this morning, that's a red flag that temporary consolidation is likely to take place. And we would just be looking for a daily higher low to form when we do top out. If the bulls can break 28.16 and get some follow through, then we know there's still bull momentum left in the tank. So that's pretty much what I'm continuing to watch, commodities and the MJ sector. It's notable to me this past weekend that the commodities video had more views than the S&P 500 market video, and I don't think that's ever happened before, so that shows us that attention is shifting with the volatility and volume and opportunity in the commodities space. So I'm keeping it nice and simple and either just focusing on MJ or commodities, and as once that opportunity diminishes, we'll go where the next opportunity is. So let's get into some tickers to start it off. NQ futures. So overnight, NQ is keeping in control the hourly uptrend, just little higher lows and continuation. So short-term support is 78.70.25 and resistance is 78.87 and 78.95. So just like SPY, we're watching the hourly uptrend, and the bulls are not going to see any daily consolidation unless we lose the hourly uptrend. So that's the most important thing for me this morning. Can the bulls keep the hourly uptrend in their favor? CMG bulls showing up this morning pre-market. We're up at 848, so we're going to test this all-time high again. 848.84 is that all-time high. We have not lost the daily uptrend. Our new daily higher low is 823.43, and the bulls are looking up at 850 psychological as the next resistance level. So also watching the potential of a bit of a rising wedge here, although that one candlestick throws it off a little bit with that gap down open. So if that one candlestick were not there, I would be watching a pattern like this. But the daily uptrend is what is most important, and as long as that holds, blue sky breakout can continue. So all-time high test coming first thing. There is a potential top fishing play. If we are unable to break 850 first thing and we start to see some profit taking, potential short-term top fishing play, but bulls have a lot of momentum in CGC, keeping this strength up. EA had an upper wick on Friday, so what I want to know is what does the hourly chart look like? And I can see there was just an hour at the end of the day with some selling, and we're still in an hourly uptrend. So I would say that anything above the low of Friday of 97.65 is a higher low on the hourly, and the bulls have to break 99.82 and 100 psychological to keep this move going. The daily chart is definitely a bit extended. We're up about 7% or so from the last time we consolidated on the daily. So if we lose the hourly uptrend, we'll look for a daily higher low to form. But at this point, I consider the hourly uptrend still intact, and the bulls are going to try and counteract that profit taking end of Friday's sell-off. If we do not break the high of Friday, 99.82, odds of a daily inside bar will certainly be present, as it was a decent-sized range, about a 2.5% range on Friday. So key resistance test first thing. Again, we don't have much info pre-market as to where we're going to open at the moment, but it's a higher open compared to our dump at the end of the day Friday. ATVI, daily inside bar on Friday, so a very tight range, looking to break it bullish first thing this morning. 56.60 is the next clear resistance level, and anything on the hourly time frame above 54.28 will keep the bulls in control. So this is the kind of scenario where I personally don't buy a gap up open if it's a break of a daily inside bar, but if already in a bullish position, healthy sideways consolidation trying to lead to some continuation, and limited resistance in this area. So 56 and then 56.60 as far as the daily time frame goes, breaking out from a pretty defined range and filling some gap. Actually, we're not filling that gap yet. 56.92 is the level to start filling that gap. 56.60 is our short-term resistance. So a little bit of a battle just before there's a lack of resistance in that gap fill back to the upside. Amazon daily inside bar on Friday as well. Bulls are going to try and break that resistance level first thing. 1841 was a double top. And then 1842 is the high of Thursday. If we break 1842 clearly, then 1847 is the highest price seen last week in extended hours. And bulls just trying to get a little bit more follow through for a more convincing break of the range from August. And getting over that double top of 1842 first thing today would be welcomed by those bulls. Apple, 214.42, a double top on its daily time frame. So looking to gap up open over that little resistance. 215 psychological is next, followed by 218.03. So bulls have some space. And again, compared to the August low and where we stand right now, I don't think you're going to find a tech sector name that's recovered more significantly than Apple has. And that's just because every little bit of news, we were hit harder, number one. Any bearish news in China, Apple was definitely hit harder due to exposure. And every bullish news has been more bullish for Apple than other tech sector names. So gap up open and hourly higher low on Apple is 213.09 to keep the bulls in full control. ACAD. So big news on ACAD, whether it was trial, I think it was trial results. Either way, the most important support level for me is going to be 38.50, and that's the low of consolidation up to this point. This wick is ruining what would be a 5-minute higher low to be watching. So I almost want to go in and see what the actual level was. So $40 was a base there aside from that little wick. So I would call $40 a 5-minute higher low. And the bulls are trying for another 5-minute higher low at 40.60. Short-term key resistance is 42.50, which the bulls are testing right now. If we can get over 42.50, there's a lack of resistance. So essentially the bulls just want to keep the 5-minute higher lows, break 42.50, and then look at psychological resistances back up towards 50 psychological. If we lose these supports on the 5-minute higher lows, we're going to be looking for more prolonged and more significant consolidation on the gap up open. So clear little 5-minute higher lows to watch to see if the bulls can keep full control. XBI, let's see if we're seeing positive response. So sell off on Friday, higher open is coming, but anything on the hourly time frame under 80.62 is just an hourly lower high. So if we can't break 80.62, the hourly lower highs continue, and the bulls then must hold 79.35 and change the hourly trend. So key resistance test first thing, all about 80.62 and 80.88. And again, if we reject, we'll have to see an hourly trend change for that momentum shift. Keeping in mind that the biotech sector has absolutely been the weakest sector that we've been watching, still very clearly in a daily downtrend, and trying to change that this week. Watching the potential of an inverse head and shoulders trying to set up here on the daily time frame. but all about the hourly time frame for clarity for me today. T breaking out on the daily time frame. Big gap up open up at 38. So previous price history from here, we're looking up at 39.29 is the most clear level. I would be looking for an hourly higher low to form this morning, probably fairly soon. Have a clear 5-minute lower high pattern. Anything under 38.95 was a lower high. Another one at 38.48. So the 5-minute trend has to change for our hourly higher low to be set. And then I would look for an equilibrium. There's a lot of space within this range from where we came from, the size of the pullback, and I would be looking for a lower high compared to 39.94 when this momentum does shift after initial profit taking has concluded. HCAT. So 36.37 and 36.29, the all-time lows. So there are only two tiny support levels nearby, and we're close to black dirt breakdown free fall, and anything on the hourly chart under 37.31 is just a lower high. So bears have complete control at this point. Bulls need a miracle to save that support and change the hourly trend to even have hope of a bounce following through from that level. And otherwise, we're just looking at psychological supports 36 and 35 from there. NKE, also with a nice solid bull move on the daily time frame. Hourly uptrend is what's most important to us. So 88.35 is our hourly higher low. Bulls need to break 89 first thing. And then we're looking at 89.87 as the most important short-term resistance with 90 right behind it. And really 90 is the level, and that is the all-time high. So a little double top at the all-time high, which we are approaching, and we're definitely a bit extended heading up to that resistance level. So it's going to be an interesting battle between 89 and 90. If we lose the hourly uptrend, rejecting from those levels, we'll have to pull back and form a daily higher low. So there is a potential top fishing play there to be watching for. Disney hourly higher low to keep the bulls in control is 139.23. And the bulls are trying to break the high of Friday first thing, 139.81. From there, we look at 140. And the next price level is 141.95. So just like SPY and everybody else, we're watching the hourly uptrend to see if the bulls can keep control. We're certainly not going to be surprised if individual names in the market as a whole sees some consolidation early this week after such a bullish end of last week. That would be normal and healthy. And the hourly time frame is going to be our guide for that. But names like Disney keeping the hourly uptrend intact and trying to break their high of Friday and see some follow through. The more space that the bulls can create above their last hourly higher low, the longer we can likely stay in that hourly uptrend. ROKU, 173.20 resistance going to be tested first thing, and that is the all-time high level in extended hours. And then 174, 175 psychological levels after that. Short-term key support from Friday afternoon is 168.82. So bulls hold 168.82. They keep full control and looking for more. Blue sky breakout, lots of strength. If Netflix is going to confirm its daily, wow, nice news. Bummer. That was going to be a good one on Netflix with this equilibrium from Thursday and Friday. Large range, just tighter and tighter. And the bull break was 292.33. So some kind of news for Netflix, but falling wedge number one, close over the daily 12-period exponential resistance. We have rejected literally the last 6 times we've touched that level, and we're going to open well above that level to start this morning. That's going to be in the upper 280s, and we're going to be opening in the mid to upper 290s. So that's a good start. We want to close over that level. Anything under 300 is just a daily lower high. But if we break 300, we break the daily lower high pattern for the first time since earnings. So I would say breaking 300 and closing over daily exponential resistance is the start that this falling wedge is shifting that momentum bullish. Tesla. So Tesla's a nice little daily inside bar. It's worth watching Tesla because if we change this daily trend, that again will be the first time since the bearish reaction to earnings. So the higher low on the daily is 219.21, and the bulls have to break 232.44 to confirm the daily trend change. We have a double top before that at 229.80. So if the bulls can get over 229.80 first thing, we're looking at the highest price we've seen in weeks and the top of the initial bull move to try and change the daily trend. And after that resistance level of 332.44 or 232.44, we're then going to be looking at 236. So close to changing that daily trend. And key resistance test first thing on Tesla. So Netflix with some bullish news. Snap had the bull break on the daily time frame Friday. 1674 is short-term resistance. So 1674 to be tested first thing. Just cautious, especially on a gap up open. We didn't consolidate on the hourly time frame Friday, so we are very overextended on the hourly chart. And next time we consolidate, we can anticipate an hourly higher low will form. But I wouldn't be surprised to see hourly consolidation at some point today. So if the bulls can break 1674, 1689 is the next resistance after that. CX. So CX has a daily uptrend. The last higher low was 352. Anything above 352 keeps that higher low pattern intact. We have lost the hourly uptrend on Friday. So that tells us daily consolidation to find a new higher low is underway. Anything under 393 is an hourly lower high. And the bulls have to change the hourly trend back in their favor for us to be confident that a daily higher low has been set. So if we drop down and break 379 first thing, have to patiently wait because the hourly trend will be bearish and there won't be a sign just yet of that daily higher low forming. VFF gap up open coming on bullish news, coming back down to earth a bit, but anything above 1211 is a gap up open. Getting a bit extended, but I assume just like it got extended to the downside and we were waiting for CGC and the sector to bounce for VFF to bounce, it's probably going to be the same with where we top out temporarily on this move. So I anticipate that when CGC tops out and we see consolidation in the major Canadian MJ names, that VFF will likely see the same. So 1211 would fill the gap if we keep pulling back. And as far as resistance goes, we're looking up at the highs of extended hours 1272 as key short-term resistance. But with the gap up open, again, just being cautious, we want to see what profit taking looks like in the first 10-15 minutes. And the most bullish scenario for profit taking is when we V-shape and see a new high of the day like CGC did on Friday. And if we don't see that new high of the day after profit taking, then we zoom out and we look for hourly consolidation to be underway. So the first 15 minutes on the VFF gap up open is going to give us some good information as to whether bulls are significantly buying that dip or not. Certainly no bullish entries at this point after this size of a bounce and the gap up open this morning, unless we flush to 5-minute oversold real quick. But as far as holding or deciding what to do with bullish positions that we are already in, it all depends on what that profit taking looks like in the first 15 minutes. And again, CGC is the example. This is textbook of what you absolutely want to see on a gap up open profit taking start to the morning. It's that V-shaped and new high of the day. If CGC had failed the high of the day there, it would have been a completely different signal and morning than the break. Work. So work on the daily time frame, daily inside bar. Support is 27.30 from Friday. So 27.30 is going to be tested first thing. After that, we look to the all-time low of 26. Anything on the hourly time frame under 27.77 is not proving anything. So 27.77 is the first resistance level. If the bulls can hold the low of Friday and break 27.77, then there's potential that we see a second daily inside bar in a row. But the bulls have a lot of work to do to shift momentum. And this is the kind of thing where we have to be very cautious because we can always see another leg down on a recent IPO that's in Black Dirt Breakdown. So NUGT, we're going to be watching, do we have a bottom fishing play with 34.70, the low of Friday? That's what we're watching first thing. High at pre-market, 36.08 will be resistance. Silver looking for an hourly higher low. Gold looking for an hourly higher low. Miners looking for an hourly higher low. So it's all about 34.70 first thing this morning. CYOU, gap up open is coming. Most important support is $9. And 9.45 is resistance. So that's all I care about first thing. And we're right in the middle of that range. Break $9 and further hourly consolidation is coming with no support nearby. And if we break 9.45, next resistance we're going to be looking at is 9.64. And this is the kind of scenario where how many shorts are there? How much short squeeze action are we going to see versus how many bag holders are there and how many people trying to bail on their positions are we going to see? And that's going to be the first battle, first thing. Is there more supply of shares or demand for shares over $9? That's going to determine whether we break 9 or 9.45. CRWD. So clear bear break on Friday. Big bear volume closing near the low of the day. If we break the low of Friday of 75.31, there's a gap at 74.19 as the next level to be watching. Short-term resistance is 77.18. And that's a little hourly bear flag from the end of the day on Friday. So if we cannot break 77.18, the bears keep complete control as we watch the low of Friday. Support test. SLV looking for an hourly higher low to form. We have to change the hourly trend. So bulls have to hold 1680 and break 1711 to change that hourly trend. If we can hold 1680, a daily inside bar will form, most likely. So daily inside bar is the goal for bull miners. It's the goal for precious metals. And that hourly higher low is needed this morning on all of those plays. LSPD. 36.16 support. Bulls need to hold that level, looking for the potential of an equilibrium if we can hold that support. Anything on the hourly under 39.34 is just a lower high, so a very clear hourly downtrend. Hourly exponential resistance is just driving the price down. Potential bottom fishing play off of that 36 level, looking for that higher low to form, especially with the hourly RSI where it's at right now. And the 4-hour RSI as well. So potential to begin scaling in for a play off of 36.16. It's still a good bit away percentage-wise from that support, but that is a setup to be watching first thing this week. HLF, hourly time frame still in full control for the bulls. Short-term resistance is 38.48. And anything on the hourly above the low of Friday, 36.43, is an hourly higher low. So bulls have space to keep the hourly uptrend in their favor. 37.55 and 38.48, two short-term resistances. A little bit extended on the daily time frame, but the hourly uptrend still in favor of the bulls. ACB, so 623, looking for a small gap up open over that level. Earnings are Wednesday. So the question is, are we going to see a run up into earnings? And we're watching the hourly chart as our guide. 607 is the most important support. Anything over 607 keeps the hourly uptrend intact. And the next resistance level is limited. So I would look at the high of pre-market, which we're testing. And then really 650 would be the next level that I watch. So lack of resistance, we'll see if the bulls can run with it heading into earnings. FSM, so again, need an hourly higher low compared to 369 and then need to break the high of pre-market to try and change the hourly trend. So same as all those other silver and miner plays. So here we go into the open. SPY, most important support level for me is 297.88. And we're over $1 above that level currently. So nice open on CGC. We'll see if the bulls can get some follow through first thing. I'll get back to tickers in just a second. It's the financial sector and the biotech sector that are seeing strength first thing this morning. Tech sector is behind a bit. So CGC, a little bit of a double top. 28.16 was the high. I guess we did get over convincingly enough. I'd like to see one more little push higher for that to be convincing. APHA is the first name to go red. So we have to be watching to see, are we going to see profit taking this morning in the MJ sector? Just placing some stop levels and all that on some of my positions. So a little bit of pullback on SPY first thing. 5-minute RSI very quickly oversold. And the question is, can the bulls keep the hourly uptrend? So again, there's still a good amount of space. We can pull back $1 from here and keep the hourly higher low intact. So watching for a little short-term 5-minute oversold bounce. Google is the first tech name with Apple, or nope, Google and Facebook are the first names to go red on my screen. MDCL. Very strong start for oil. Checking in on oil real quick. So oil is breaking resistance. 57.72 resistance remains on oil. And NUGT is a double bottom right now with the low of Friday. So that was a double or a bottom fishing play initially. Certainly need a bit more follow through if we're going to believe that that level can hold. But so far so good for that bottom fishing play. Nice convincing follow through on CGC. It's exactly what the bulls wanted to see, at least initially, fending off profit taking as SPY is pulling back, disregarding that correlation. MDCL, not much information as far as today's action. Little gap up open on the daily. 349 is the next resistance level. And if we pull back, the gap to fill is at 330. But very low volume. So not really a whole lot going on. So I placed a couple stops in my MJ positions just in case we do see a shift into profit taking. If we go red on the morning on some of these names, then we will be looking for that profit taking to begin. Or I should say just we'll be looking for daily consolidation for a higher low to try and form. TNX. So TNX with the gap up open, seeing some profit taking, though we're just looking for a 5-minute higher low to form because anything above 159 is a 5-minute higher low. As far as resistance goes, 162 is a little double top on the daily. I got the wrong ticker up. TNX. Let me know if you're looking at Canadian companies or what. I need to know what exchanges. I don't know if you're looking at the gold company in Canada or the Treasury yield. Both would be on topic. FNMA. A little bit more profit taking on CGC. So FNMA pulling back after a gap up open. We're going to look for an hourly higher low to form. And we'll need to change the 5-minute trend back to the bulls for that hourly higher low to form. So short-term support looking at 321 and then down really to 3 psychological. And resistance is up at 349. SPY getting due for a 5-minute oversold bounce. 5-minute RSI very quickly dropped down to the low 20s. So we'll be watching the 5-minute exponential resistances and looking for a 5-minute lower high on this bounce attempt. And again, I am much more confident buying SPY oversold 5-minute bounces when we're in an hourly uptrend. Versus if we're in a downtrend. OH not doing a whole lot first thing this morning. High of Friday has not been broken. And we're actually not even close. Really, the bulls are just trying to hold a low of Friday. I forgot we had some decent profit taking on Friday for OH. So 792 is key support, and that's the goal for the bulls, hold that level. And if we don't, then daily consolidation to find a higher low is underway. So 792 support and hourly lower high resistance is 826. All right, TNX for the Treasury yield. So looking at 162 on the daily as a little double top. If we can get over 162, the next level is up at 172. So that is the key resistance to be watching. And anything on the hourly time frame above 154 keeps the bulls in full control. And that's 1623 if we're looking at the interest rate note. So 1623 resistance and support is 1540. Testing resistance now. So CGC close to going red. APHA is in the red. So looking like we could potentially be seeing the start of daily consolidation. So I'm just taking a little bit more off of my MJ positions this morning. And we'll look to reload on daily higher lows for some names. Cron's in the red. CGC now hitting the red. Let's see if CGC is going to give us 5-minute oversold. Not yet. We'd probably have to drop down closer to 27 for 5-minute oversold conditions. Tons of profit taking in the biotech sector. So XBI, it was anything under 862 being a lower high, and we topped out at 80.35 and pulled back pretty hard from that level. So bears keeping control in the biotech sector. CRM getting to 5-minute oversold. Hourly downtrend continues. And there's a lack of clear support. 149.90 is a gap fill, so we filled that gap. But we're in a very clear hourly downtrend during consolidation right now. Anything under 152.10 was a lower high. We got up to 152.15, so essentially a double top there and a clear drop to lower lows. So bears still in full control on the hourly time frame. And at this point, we're looking for a weekly higher low to form, but no sign of it yet. WMT. So WMT setting up for a daily higher low trying to form. Anything above 113.49 is a daily higher low. But the hourly trend has not changed yet. Some nice buying from the open. But I personally would consider anything under the high of Friday of 115.75 as an hourly lower high. So bulls need to change the hourly trend for us to be confident the daily higher low has been established. SPY bounce getting a little bit more follow through. Still just watching 5-minute exponential resistances. Certainly nothing impressive at this point. CGC's base of support is 27.54, and that held all Friday. Consolidation, we held 27.54, 27.56, and a decent little 5-minute bounce off of those levels initially. We'll see if they can hold through the morning. GE. Big bull move first thing. Very notable start to the morning. Daily higher low is set at 8.57. And now we're looking back up towards 9 and 9.23 as daily resistances. So nice strong start to the day. We will need a 5-minute higher low sooner rather than later, as the bulls are getting a bit extended on the 5-minute time frame. But daily higher low is now set for GE, and that's now the most important support level all week. 8.57 for the bulls to keep that little daily higher low. IBB to change the daily trend has to hold 136, and the bulls have to break 103.16. LK. 2150 resistance on LK. That would change the daily trend very convincingly if we break that level. If we don't break 2150, we're setting up for a potential equilibrium. Obviously, it doesn't have to be today. But just looking at the 4-hour... Nah, I don't like the 4-hour chart. Either way, let's zoom in a little bit. High of Friday, 2094, key resistance first thing is a double top. So we have to break... Essentially have to break 21 for a convincing break over the high of Friday. Otherwise, the daily inside bar is likely. So nice bounce on CGC. We'll see if we get a 2-minute equilibrium due to the size of the bounce. VFF, a lot of profit taking on that gap up open. Close to 5-minute oversold. So we would expect a VFF bounce from 5-minute oversold conditions if we break $12. APHA has made a solid bounce from its low of the day. UGAZ. UGAZ bulls still on fire. So big gap up open. And the hourly trend, anything above 1940, keeps the hourly uptrend intact and keeps those bulls in control. And again, I'd be watching resistance on one of the natural gas instruments that doesn't have exposure to time decay. So 256 stands out on Nat Gas USD, and then 261.6. Clear 5-minute uptrend on UGAS, including pre-market. So we got a 5-minute uptrend, an hourly uptrend, as a guide for the bulls to keep their full control, which they certainly still have. NUGT did hold that double bottom, but we're back down to testing it again, so not much follow through. It was a very quick bounce for about 2.5% off of that support level, but we're right back down to testing it. So there's another bottom fishing opportunity, but the odds are increasing that we could break that support level. There's just very low risk at this point. So heading down to test that low. And it broke, but not convincingly just yet. Need to see a little bit more follow through. CGC has made a pretty impressive bounce here. We would need to see increasing bull volume if we were going to have confidence that we could see a new high of the day. So I am anticipating a 5-minute equilibrium on CGC. VFF is bouncing off of 12 psychological. BA. So hopefully at this point, if bottom fishing NUGT, ideally you would leave enough wiggle room where 2 cents below support is not going to stop you out. So BA is very weak down at the low of the day. And we're in a nice tightening range on BA. We're looking for a daily higher low compared to 350.61. So that's key support on the daily chart. And the hourly RSI would be getting to oversold if we were to head down towards those levels. For the NUGT bulls to prove anything off of this double bottom, we have to see a break of some of these. I like the 2-minute time frame right now with the volatility to start the morning. So I would need to see a break, or at least a change of the 2-minute trend to have confidence that that double bottom can hold and result in some follow through. Semiconductors having a decent morning. Apple is the lead tech bull aside from Netflix, which is benefiting from that news and testing 300 psychological. WTR. All bears on WTR. 43.17 is the most important daily support. Hourly RSI is just getting oversold. 4-hour RSI is not oversold. There's also the potential setup of a head and shoulders on the daily time frame now, and we're looking for the right neckline to form. So 43.17 support, but no sign of a bounce at this point. 5 and 15-minute RSI levels are pretty crushed, but the longer term, hourly and 4-hour, are not that crushed. Snap rejected from the high of Friday first thing, 1664. It's a double top. And we saw significant profit taking right after that happened. Low of the day test right now. ULTA, little weak bounce attempt. Certainly looks correlated to SPY a bit. Anything under the high of the day is just a 5-minute lower high. And support, the lowest price we've seen during regular trading is 227.71 as a very important support level. So CGC is a potential top fish with the high of the day for those looking bearish. So no follow through on the NUGT double bottom. Bottom fishing plays would be stopped out at this point. And just the hourly downtrend continues now. Lower highs and lower lows. 32.51 is the next most important support on the daily time frame for NUGT. And that's our weekly higher low. So that is a pretty important level. So financial sector holding strong at the high of the day. Tech sector is a bit weaker. Biotech sector is a bit weaker. And Netflix bulls are having exactly the kind of day they wanted for that falling wedge. Daily lower highs have broken. Now we're looking at 302.88 as the next level. And the bulls are looking for their first close over daily exponential 12-period resistance since earnings. Nicely timed news catalyst for that pattern. Netflix looks like it's squeezing some shorts a bit. But certainly chasing Netflix at this point, if not already in a position. Whether it was from last week. I don't know how many times that Netflix daily falling wedge has been featured in BYOC. Nice to see it follow through. So SPY bounce couldn't get over the 5-minute exponential resistances, dropping down to test the low of the day. Hourly uptrend is most important to me, and that support is approaching 297.88. Still a little ways to go. NIO bull break over the high of Friday. So now we're looking at 306 and 312 from extended hours as resistance levels. Keeping in mind the daily chart has not changed the trend. This is a bounce from the low. So we will still need a clear daily higher low and higher high. And there's the potential of an inverse head and shoulders on the daily, with 327 being the left neckline. And if we can't break 327, we'll be looking for that to be the right neckline. And then a daily higher low will have to form the right shoulder. Just show that real quick. If we can't break 327, have to form the higher low and then change the daily trend. And that's just because this move is coming off the low. We don't have a daily trend change yet. Very nice bounce on VFF. Right before oversold conditions. So at this point in managing my MJ positions, I have exited C-Web fully after not being able to break its tight range convincingly last week I gave him one more chance this morning and then bailed on C-Web. Took a little bit more profit on APHA. So with where SPY's 5-minute RSI is, still looking at a potential play off of hourly uptrend support. Because that 5-minute RSI is at 24 right now, and that support is 70 cents away, or 60 cents away. CAT. And if we're going to head to this hourly support on SPY on this pullback, that 5-minute RSI will be mid to low teens. CAT has been all bull since the bell rang. Very strong start to the morning. Daily chart continuing its bull move. Next resistance is up at 126.80. And we'll certainly look for a 5-minute higher low next time we consolidate. And anything above 122.46 keeps the hourly uptrend intact. So this is definitely one of the strongest charts we've looked at this morning, as far as its start to the day. Looking good. So Tesla's trying to break its daily resistance to confirm the trend change. 232.44. Netflix, we're looking for a 5-minute higher low compared to the low of the day. If this pullback were to be significant on the 5-minute time frame, there is a potential 5-minute head and shoulders with pre-market action as well. But I would need to see this pull back into the upper 296s, really. So still just looking for a 5-minute higher low at this point. So looking more and more like consolidation in the MJ sector to start the week. The 5-minute equilibrium on CGC has been perfection so far. Lower high at 28.24. Bulls just forming a higher low compared to the low of the day. For SPY now, we have a new resistance on the 5-minute. Anything under 298.78 is just a lower high. Just caught a mason jar before it shattered by the tip of my finger. So if SPY breaks 298 here, I'm going to be interested in looking for a short-term oversold bounce flip using SPXL. So SPY 5-minute EMA resistance test. And keeping in mind for CGC that how this 5-minute equilibrium breaks, what SPY is doing definitely would have a bit of an impact. I would want to see SPY going in the direction that the break occurs for me to be extra confident. And also the fact that the daily time frame is a bit extended, I personally would be more comfortable playing a bear break than a bull break, because in my opinion, the bull break would be a little bit more limited upside than the bear break may have to the downside. If it's a bear break, then I would be comfortable saying consolidation is underway. So still not cooling off this 5-minute RSI on SPY. These little bounces are not doing anything. So I'm remaining picky and waiting for a trade to come to me if I'm going to play an oversold bounce. FNMA higher low set at 321. We're testing the high of pre-market resistance, 349. If we don't break 349, we will have a 5-minute tightening range between those two levels. Nice little increasing 5-minute bull volume as we head towards resistance, but it's still over 1% away. Netflix very healthy 5-minute consolidation at this point, potentially even a bull flag. Netflix bulls would love if the SPY bounce could get going now to add a little extra fuel. Biotech sector at the low of the day. So we know the bull miners broke bearish. Let's see if the precious metals did. And they have not even close. So XAG is still in an hourly equilibrium and tightening range. Gold is still looking for an hourly higher low. So that tells me don't give up on bull miners today. While it was not the ideal setup to play off of a support level, and the initial weakness in SPY likely is what helped drag those bull miners down, there is still potential for the precious metals themselves to hold up today. So again, for SPY, anything under 298.78 is a 5-minute lower high. You guys still all bulls. We will need a 5-minute higher low at some point, but these bulls are on fire. Oil is testing the high of last Thursday, 57.72. So far, we got within 13 cents and pulled back a bit. So SPY bears in control of the 5-minute time frame, SPY bulls still in control of the hourly and, of course, the daily time frame. The question is, can the bulls change the 5-minute trend back in their favor to keep the hourly uptrend alive this morning? CGC still tightening up, no break there yet. At this point, watching to see if the bull miners are going to get to hourly oversold again today. I do not think there is a good volume leveraged ETF for XLV. Kira's battling $10 psychological, but it's looking like with the range that we saw on Friday's candlestick, it's certainly looking like a daily inside bar is likely today. Bulls ideally want to hold 984 support. So Tesla is changing the daily trend with that little higher low and now getting over. Certainly needs to be a bit more convincing, but 230, 244 was that resistance. Next level is up at 236. Bulls ideally want to see an increase in volume today, more than 4.2 million. And the 5-minute bull flag confirmed. Actually, that was a different ticker. It was Netflix that we were watching the potential 5-minute bull flag, which has not confirmed. If SPY tops out under 298.78 here, I'll be watching the 2-minute time frame for a potential inverse head and shoulders if the bulls are going to shift this short-term momentum. So that's a possible shorter-term setup to be watching. So Tesla and Netflix are standing out today for their strength. IBB, we're just looking for a 5-minute lower high to be set on this bounce. Anything under the high of the day is a lower high. LK, nice 5-minute higher low at 20.85. And it's all about 2150 resistance. BA with a very nice V-shaped bounce after a very weak start. Staying inside its daily tightening range. Bulls are hoping that this is our higher low compared to 350.61. But we still need a 5-minute trend change. This move came right off the low of the day. So we'll need a 5-minute higher low compared to the low of the day, and then a new high of the day to confirm a 5-minute trend change. SPY bulls heading to test our 5-minute resistance of 298.78. Gush is all bull to start the day. $373 breaking was bullish. $385 is the next resistance. Short-term support is $368, but that's not even really a 5-minute high or low. We haven't seen much consolidation at all this morning. So SPY with an initial rejection from resistance. Five-minute RSI has fully cooled off. Again, those 5-minute oversold bounces when you're in an uptrend can be much more reliable than when in a downtrend. For me, CGC is still just a 5-minute lower high under 28.24. Wow, we're seeing a scenario right now where the tech sector and the financial sector are going in the exact opposite directions. QQQ weak since the open and near the low of the day, and XLF strong since the open and at the high of the day. So XLF is having a big day today. Breaking out on its daily chart, following through from the trend change significantly. And QQQ topping out with a double top at the high of last week. So that makes things a little bit more tricky as far as the broader market is concerned, in the sense that if they're going in both directions, that's what can lead to some choppy trading action. So what I watch from here for the morning to get a better sense of things is XLF going to lose the 5-minute uptrend. It hasn't even consolidated this morning. So is XLF going to lose its 5-minute uptrend, or is QQQ going to change the 5-minute trend to the bulls? So whichever one joins the other, it will dictate direction on SPY today. So QQQ can change the 5-minute trend to the bulls. SPY bulls will have a very nice recovery. And if XLF loses the 5-minute uptrend, we can see the hourly uptrend potentially be lost on the S&P 500. Oil is right at resistance, 57.72. We did just break it by a few pennies. Shop bounce is starting, but we are just looking for a 5-minute lower high. Weekly consolidation still clearly underway. Bulls are looking for a weekly higher low compared to 310. Hourly RSI got crushed, as did the 5 and 15-minute RSI levels. And we'll need a 5-minute trend change on shop for an hourly oversold bounce to get any follow through. So SPY is approaching its 5-minute resistance, as is CGC. So the next FOMC meeting will be a week from this Wednesday. So still a good amount of trading time before that is at the forefront. Still watching that potential 5-minute inverse head and or 2-minute inverse head and shoulders pattern on SPY if we do reject here. LK is currently topping out at 2150 resistance. Still within striking distance, of course, and anything above 2085 is a 5-minute high or low. So even if bulls do reject initially, we will be looking for a 5-minute high or low to form from that rejection. Netflix is that potential 5-minute head and shoulders. Needed to pull back to the upper 296s for that to look like the shape setting up, and we pulled back to 297.12. That's close enough at this point. So we are anticipating the low of the day is likely to hold, but we will also be looking for a lower high on the 5-minute compared to the high of the day. So this is what we're potentially watching for. So SPY needs a 2-minute high or low here. Again, just a refresher, this is what we're watching on the SPY 2-minute chart. If the bulls are going to shift this momentum, we need to hold the low of the day and break 298.78 for this 2-minute head and shoulders pattern, inverse head and shoulders pattern to follow through. AMD with a big dump and not really being seen by NVDA. So that looks specific to AMD. Tesla bulls still in full control. We'll look for a clear 5-minute high or low to form next time we do see more of a pullback. There is a double top at the high of the day, but anything above 229.59 is a 5-minute high or low. CRWD, anything under 74.86 is a 5-minute lower high on this bounce attempt. Daily time frame is continuing significant weakness. $69 is the next daily support level to be watching. And I would be looking for a weekly high or low to form compared to the all-time low and a longer-term equilibrium to play out. But knowing that we're looking on the longer-term weekly time frame, we can also be patient and watch for potentially even an hourly trend change to be our first indication. So SPY trying to form that right shoulder, and it's got to be the tech sector that does some kind of significant bounce to see that play out, which is what's happening. And there it goes. Just rejected again. Bears are clearly playing defense at 298.78. So tech sector bounce is trying to confirm the 2-minute inverse head and shoulders on SPY. But a little bit more follow through is needed. IBB, solid bounce, still need a 5-minute trend change. We have to hold the low of the day and see a clear 5-minute higher low and higher high. And the bulls are hoping that our daily higher low is going to form today to try for a daily trend change this week. Have not seen a clear daily trend change back to the bulls in quite some time. Have to break 103.16 this week to see it. Bear miners definitely keeping their control. Hourly RSI levels approaching oversold, and weekly support levels. And actually, JNUG is close to losing its weekly support, 71.33. It will lose it before NUGT does. We might be seeing a weekly trend change for the bears on JNUG with a lower high and lower low if we break 71.33. If SPY is able to break that resistance, target would be not a ton of follow through. I would still expect an inability to break the high of the day initially. But as of right now, it is very clear that bears are defending that line in the sand of 298.78. And the reason I wouldn't be looking for any significant follow through if it changes the pattern is the 15-minute time frame. So this is how cycling through time frames can help us, because I would still expect SPY to give us a 15-minute lower high even if that 2-minute trend changes. Pretty much that 2-minute trend changing would just lead us to the 15-minute anticipated lower high. So the 15-minute setup were different. I might be looking for more follow through, but not with this current setup. Clear bear break on CGC. That was an easy one for the bears. Bear break was at 27.72, and just like that, we're down over 1%. ACAD. So I'm starting to like the 15-minute time frame for clarity on some of the setups this morning. And if SPY can break 298.78, I'll use the 15-minute time frame. So for ACAD, anything under the high of the day is a 15-minute lower high. So it's a nice little bounce off the low of the day. We have not changed the 5-minute trend with a higher low and higher high. So while we are looking for an hourly higher low to be set after profit taking on this gap up, I'm watching the 15-minute trend for clarity. And if we do not break 44, it's just a 15-minute lower high. And just like that, CGC is getting multiple percent follow through on that bear break. So daily consolidation certainly looks underway. KHC 5-minute support is 27.74, and it's certainly a very bullish start to the day. AMGN, I would call that a double top at 203. Anything above 199.38 is a 5-minute high or low. Nice recovery on Facebook. The odds that the daily high or low are higher than not. The reason being we held 186.35 support. I consider that a double bottom by 7 pennies. And resistance of 188.08. If we can break that level. If we can see a new high of the day here. Convincingly, then yes, I would call that a double bottom and then a break of hourly resistance. So I'm going to wrap up the morning webcam. Neckline of JNUG. Not sure what time frame we're looking at. If it's on the weekly, the neckline is 71.33. And the reason is because 76.81 doesn't even show up on the weekly time frame. Even if you condense it to the 2-day time frame, it's not there. So that was just a little short-term blip where 71.33 is the clear pivot point. And I think pulling up the 2-day time frame for JNUG makes that more clear. CGC, I would have to see a break of 27, and I'd have to see the 5-minute RSI in the low 20s for me to be interested. And that's because at that point, the 15-minute RSI would be getting oversold as well. So I'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage in the chat room. CGC is at the low of the day, so there is a potential 5-minute oversold bounce play. Watching 27 psychological. So this morning I exited CWeb, I exited APHA. Took some more off of OH and IAN. And pretty much just a day of trimming those positions, anticipating some daily consolidation is coming, and not wanting to give back the gains from last week. So hope you all have a good rest of your morning. I'll be back in the near term, and we'll take it from there. SPY still battling 298.78, multiple top resistance.